How's it going, guys? Mike here, and today I have a basic video for you guys. It's gonna be a series. It's for people getting into the hobby of wargaming, where they're maybe a little uncomfortable with the whole process of building models and painting and priming and basing and all of that. So we're gonna do a little bit of a series starting with building, and today I have here some Spirit Hosts from Age of Sigmar. I just recorded an entire video of a hero for this purpose and realized my hands were not under the camera. So we're doing it again, and we're gonna build it. I'm gonna build more models. That's what's gonna happen. So we have Spirit Hosts. I got a X-Acto knife here, which is a great tool for building models. I like to use it to shave off some of the bits. We have nice sharp sprue cutters. These are made by Citadel. I love them. They're about 30 bucks. They're a little more expensive than the cheapo ones that I got a while back when I first started. They were like 10 bucks, but they're not that sharp. You don't want those. So Citadel clippers, they're great for sprue cutters. I got an Army Painter file here. I use it from time to time. It has its purpose, shave down some stuff, which we'll get to. And then plastic glue made by Citadel. I have a lot of Citadel products, but you don't need this. Any plastic modeling glue will do. This specific Citadel glue melts the plastic of the model very slightly so that it fuses the pieces together. So I like it. I've always liked it. I've always used it. I use this when I build from the ground up, but in cases where models break when playing, which happens almost every time you play, I do use a super glue, which has like an instant spray adhesive. We could talk about that another time though. But let's get over to the table and start building. Okay, we're at the desk now and we're about to get started. First things first, you want to get some adequate lighting. Anything will do that just gets light over your hands and over the model. That's going to give you the best visibility while building your models and painting your models. All right, and here we go. Let's start by unboxing the model. Oh, it's already cut a little bit. Inside we got some instructions. It even gives you, oh look, they're old rules. But inside the book, you're gonna have pretty detailed instructions on how to build the model. I tend to always follow them. Most people do, I would say. Some people do like to do things called kit bashing, where they modify the model drastically, which is cool. You can do that too, but in this case, if you're starting out, follow the rules. Get the model built. You could always kit bash after the fact and add things to it or change things as you see fit. So starting off, everything is numbered, everything is lettered. So 1A, 1B, and it kind of goes through the process of building each one of these. There are 3 Spirit Hosts in this that we're going to build. So let's get started. We also have the sprues, which have all the parts on them. All of the bits that are numbered. So if you saw here, you've got in 1A, it says part 7 and part 8. Each of the sprues has numbers coded next to all the pieces. So you would go and you'd find 7 and 8, and you'd cut, so there's 8 and there is 7. And typically how you know what goes to what, I've had this question asked to me before. The number is going to sit on the piece of the sprue that juts out towards the part. So the closest, if it's inside this whole frame, that number that's closest on to that is going to be what that part is for, typically. Sometimes it's hard because this is 31 and it's on the outside, but yeah, this is 7. You can even match up how it looks too, right? So there's the skeleton and the ectoplasm spirit, and there's the skeleton. It matches up. So let's start by cutting, right? So let's get this out of the way. We have some bases too, right? There we go. Some nice bases. Came with 3. Starting off, we're going to take our sharp clippers. We're going to look for 7 and 8, like it said in the instructions. So we have here, 8 is already right here. So let's just cut 8. Now, one thing to note when cutting with your clippers, I like, you have like this inside where it kind of bends in, see? And then the flat side. Flat side I like to use always against the model. It's the cleanest way to get a good cut. So we have 8 here, and we're going to make sure we cut cleanly on that little triangle, right? That little triangle there is not the piece of the model itself. It is a piece that's holding the model to the sprue. So let's put the, what I like to do is put the flat side up against it, nice and clean, and cut, nice and gently. There it is, done. We got our cut. It's a very small piece, so it's hard to see, I'm sure. Let's move on to 7. That was 8. Here is 7 here, 7. And we're going to take the flat side, and we're going to go right up against the model, clip again, and clip. Same thing here. Now this one's a little weird because of the bone on the skeleton, so I might just clip it as close as I can get it and then shave it later. This here, go up against and off. Gently, it falls out. Now, that piece I just mentioned, you'll see here, it's kind of right there, that little nub. We can get rid of that. Now that we have it out of the model, we can get in there easier with the clippers too, or we could use the X-Acto knife, but I think we'll use the clippers. Take the ends, nice, and gently squeeze, and there it is. You can even clean it up a little more if you want. And we can even take that X-Acto knife I mentioned earlier, and I like to shave it slightly. Gone. There it is. Now you want to be careful when doing this and cut yourself. So do it kind of like you're cutting an apple, I guess. With, you know, use your fingers, control it with your gripping it with your fist instead of pulling. You want to just control it, right? Takes practice. Be careful. Don't cut yourself. If you're uncomfortable doing this, don't use an X-Acto knife. But if you know how to handle a knife, have at it. It's a very efficient way to shave off those weird pieces, right? So there's that, right? So now we have 7 and 8 off, and we can start by gluing them, right? So let's take our glue. So 7 and 8. So 8 goes onto the, looks like it's the skull, the jaw of the skeleton on the rest of it. So it's gonna go right in the skull. Open up our glue, make sure it's good. Yeah, it seems like it is. Now before you go and squeeze this, you want it onto the model, just try and get a bead to come out of the tip. You don't want to blast the model with glue. I've almost ruined models before, but with paint. I'm sure some people watching might have seen that on stream. Go watch it, it's embarrassing. So we're gonna take a little dab and we're gonna place it on the model. But before we do that, let's dry fit it. Always dry fit first, just to really make sure. Oh, that fit nice and clean, right? The skull is on there. I'm happy with that fit. We're gonna just go ahead and put the glue on now. So we're gonna take the glue, put it onto where the skull fit in, nice and easy. Let's get a little bead out again. If you have too much on the end, you could always dab it onto like a paper towel, just to make sure you don't put too much on the model, or put it on your mat like I just did and ruin your mat. Don't do that. There we go, a little bit of glue, very little. You don't need a lot. This stuff does like wonders. And then we're gonna fit the skull right on. And this fit like a glove. This came together nicely. So there we go. That's in. We're gonna let it dry, but we're not gonna just stop here because it fits so nice. We can move on to the next piece. And the next piece is 4. So let's find 4. Number 4, there's number 4. So we're gonna cut number 4 off the sprue. Flat side, remember, flat side of your nice and sharp sprues. Sometimes if you flip it over, you can get an idea of where it attaches to the model, because sometimes from this angle you don't know. Check both sides is my point. Make sure that you're not cutting something you shouldn't cut. And sometimes approaching it from the bottom is a good way too, right? So right up against the model with the flat side, cut. Same thing, up against the piece with the flat side here, cut. Same thing here, up against the flat side, cut. And one more, cut. Done. Right? Now, put it down. We're good. Let's see where it attaches. It says it attaches in a strange way here, these onto the spirit itself in this way. So let's place this like this. kind of, sometimes you can just match it up and say, oh, how does it go, right? It goes like this, it looks like. So we're gonna take the model, and we can see here that there might be a groove in that little nudge, that little notch there. That's the fit. That's it right there. Boom. We found it. Let's go ahead and glue that. So first, let's take a little bit of glue, get it in that notch right there. Get the bead out. Sometimes it doesn't come out. When it doesn't come out, you gotta clean off the tip of it a little bit. Oh, there it is. There it is. Too much, too much. Back on my mat, that's messy, I know. Yell at me later in the comments. And let's go ahead and fit it since we dry fit already. And in it goes. Bam. Like that. We're gonna hold it for a second. We're gonna let this dry. All right, so we're pretty good now. Those have dried. This is a finicky model, so I had to sit there and hold it for quite a bit. But now that we've held it and it's in place, we can move on to the next thing, which we have here 6 and 2. And I show 6 and 2 in a box here, and kind of the yellow is where the contact points would be. And it shows how they approach, once you put them together, how they apply to the model. So let's find 6 and 2. Number 6 right here. Up against flat side, boom, and again, and again. That was 6 and 2. Let's find 2. Let's find 2. Here's 2. 2 right here. Again. Boom. Boom. And lastly, that one. Make sure I wiggle it. Oh, we missed one. There we go. Let's take a look what we got. So, shave off these little nubs, right? Just get it off. Nice and easy. Don't cut yourself. That should do. And the next one. That looks pretty good. I don't think I need to shave anything off of that. So now let's do a dry fit. Make sure we're good. So you've got 6 here. This is 2. Yep, that's how it's gonna go. It's gonna go just like that. There's a little groove there and a little notch here. And we're gonna just put them together like that. So let's just take some glue, prime the tip. We don't want to blast it. There it is. A little in that groove. And then we can take our model, our other piece, and marry them together the way we dry fit them. And let's hold them there. And once this dries, we'll put them on. Okay, so it's dried now, and now we're gonna figure out how to marry this to the next piece. It shows we're gonna connect it from we're gonna put it on the back side of the first piece we made, and it shows all the connection points. So let's pick up the original piece in the same position it is there, and let's marry them together and try and find the groove. All right, there we have it. I found the groove in the dry fit, and let's go ahead and apply some glue to that, and it fits nicely, and hold it together. So prime the tip of the glue again. You have to clean it here. There we go. Always dries on the end right before you get to use it again. And let's put a little there. We're probably gonna have to put a little more on the other contact point. And I think we do. Let's just put it on the other contact point just to be safe. Here we go. Let's apply it. Exactly how we remember doing it. Now we're gonna hold it here in place and let it dry. All right, it's looking pretty good. Now, one thing you can do, it's still slightly drying. Before I move on to the next step, I like to do this sometimes just to get a little bit of balance on it, so I'm not holding it and dropping it in my hands. We could place it on the base early, you know, and don't worry, if you plan on doing any kind of elaborate basing, you could always take it off. Or some people like to use different methods of holding their models. I've seen like guys use cork and whatnot. I just tend to like to base the model early. Let's put a little glue in the middle of the base and hold it there for a few seconds and let it dry. This way it's got a nice stable place to sit while you work on it. Oh, okay, it looks like it's pretty dry. It's still a little wet, but it's good for now. We can kind of work with it. Moving on to the next step. It looks like it wants us to use number 1. So we go back to our sprue and we find number 1. And here's number 1. So we're gonna take the back side of our clippers, like I said, and we're gonna be careful because these are pretty small, these are thin, right? You don't wanna break it. So what I like to do in these situations is you got thin arms, thin piece there of like, you know, ghost. I cut it further back. Instead of going up flush against the model, just cut it early, right? You don't wanna go too close and bend it because that could happen, it is plastic. Just cut everything early, right? And same goes for this one. Let's cut this one kind of early. I don't want to break that hand, you know? Boom, cut. And then we're gonna cut this one. Now, all those pieces are off, and you can easily work with it to not break the model. So we can take our sprue cutters and now go up close here at a different angle that you couldn't have gotten when it was on the sprue. Take the tip of the sprue, of the cutter, and gently get rid of those pieces. Same here, see? So don't always try to work with it on the sprue. Take it off the sprue if you have to. You don't have to cut it perfectly on the sprue. You can clean it up off the sprue, so you don't ruin it. Sometimes you go to cut something at a weird angle on the sprue because you can't get it at the best angle, and you end up bending or cracking or breaking the model piece, and that stinks because then you gotta go back and figure out how to get it attached right. It's never ruined, but it's just a step you don't want to have to deal with. It's kind of annoying. So do it clean the first time. And there we go. Good enough. Looks pretty good. If I wanted to, I could take this and just shave some of these pieces off a little bit. But I don't want to go too. This is very delicate. I don't want to break it. So yeah, like that kind of, that little nub here. And there it is. I think that's fine. So I show here number 1 is going to get fit here. So let's go ahead and dry fit that. There's a notch inside this the head here of the ghost. So it looks like it's gonna fit into that notch on the rest of its body. And look at that, that's actually a nice clean fit. We're gonna go ahead and glue that on right away. Just take a little, I'm even gonna put it right on there. There's already a bead here, which is nice. Pull on there. And then we're gonna go and we're gonna fit it on. And hold it there and let it dry. Make sure it's positioned correctly, which it looks like it is. It's already getting a little tacky, which is good, and we're gonna let this go. You're gonna feel that as the glue starts to dry, it gets tacky, which is kind of nice sometimes because you can finagle it in those situations. All right, now that looks like it's pretty much set. It's a little wet, but it'll dry as we wait and clip the next one, right? It was tacky enough to where it's in position. I'm not worried about it falling down. Moving on to, it looks like number 3, and here's number 3. So again, this is another one where I'd be afraid to cut it on the sprue. I'm just gonna trim it off the sprue. We're gonna trim it not close to the model. We're gonna just completely just remove it from the sprue and clean up the rest. It's still a little, just very gently, you know, make sure it doesn't, oh, there it is, off. So again, let's clean it up now because we can get better angles at this with the cutter. Nice, see, nice and clean. A little dot there we can clean up actually. So watch. There it is. Looking good. These are so little and delicate, you don't want to ruin them. Take your time. Patience. That's good. We don't even gotta trim anything with a X-Acto knife or anything. So next, looks like 3 attaches down here. So let's go ahead and dry fit that one. Okay, we found where the dry fit is. Now we're gonna put some glue on. Nice little bit, not too much. Get the bead out before you go and squeeze it on the model. There it is. And we're gonna put it right where it's gonna fit. Good. And we're gonna just nice and gently marry it back up how we had it when we dry fit it. Whoop. It's gonna slide sometimes, especially when you have big hands. But that's okay. Breathe. This can be frustrating. This is actually one of the most frustrating things, is when you're trying to finagle a model and it's falling apart in your hands and it's just not behaving. Just take your time. Sometimes you may have to wait for everything to fully dry hardened to go back at it, otherwise it's just gonna move all around on you. Or sometimes you want to get the glue kind of tacky and then go back at it so that the piece will stay. That's another option. So I might do that here because it's very awkward. But I think I got the angle, and I'm gonna sit here and hold this until it dries. All right, it has gotten tacky enough to where it is in place. Next, we're going to move on to the next page and see what next piece goes on. I see here. Oh, I didn't get the page to turn. Number 5. We got number 5 now. Finding number 5. It should be on the same sprue. It is on the same sprue. Let's get number 5. Again, we're gonna cut it off the sprue without trying to get too close to the model. These are very delicate pieces. Nice and simple. Off the sprue. And now we're gonna go with the tips again. Nice and easy. Oop. There it is. There it is. There it is. All right, pretty happy with that. Got a little bit here I could trim off. Actually, nope, that's fine. So, find out where it goes on the map here. It looks like it goes at the highest point. Let's do a dry fitting, and there's a nice groove on this one. So this one should kind of, sometimes it's pretty obvious. You got like a little total groove on where that's gonna go. Right? You can kind of see where that fits without even putting it together yet. But let's gently do that and see how it goes. Okay, we have found how the fit goes. Let's put some glue on and get this last piece on. Well, second to last piece, there's a small piece for the base, which we'll put on too. Getting the glue on. Nice, done. A little too much, but that's okay. We could work with it. And let's fit her on. This one we can let it sit on the base, maybe balance it. Make sure we're doing it right. There it is. There it is. There's the fit. And we're gonna hold it. And there we have it. The first of the 3 is done. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the other 2 off camera and touch base with you guys in a moment. But sometimes you get seams. I know a lot of older models get seams. If you look under here, you can see there's kind of a seam there that might bother some people. There is something called green stuff. Whoop, knocking things over. Green stuff. Which various different manufacturers make it. Citadel makes it, and I know, I'm sure Army Painter makes a type, maybe even Vallejo. It's a putty that you can fill the cracks with. Mine is dried out right now. and I'm not too worried about that. But if you had a seam that was like very noticeable, for instance, on the one I built earlier, she had a seam on the back I filled with the putty. It's just a little bit of green Play-Doh that you just spread it into the crack and leave it, and it dries, and when you prime it, you'll never see it again. Priming and painting will also hide a lot of sins on your models, as long as they're not gaping chasms of seams. But otherwise, touch base with you at the table in a minute. All right, guys, that is it. We are all set. All 3 spirit hosts are built. I built the remaining 2 off of camera. And the next step's going to be, we're going to move into priming, and we'll talk about some of the different options you have, and then into painting as well. And we'll do that in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. If you're totally new to the hobby, that's what this video was for. So anybody who's advanced, I get it. This is rudimentary, but this is for people that are new to the hobby and trying to figure out, hey, how do I build these without ruining them? Well, that's the point of this video. So that'll be the point of the next one too, for priming and painting. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.